challenges here for 21st century contemporary agriculture rely a lot around giving people food that is both sustainable for themselves, but then also for farmers. So let's look at fair trade first. Rise of fair trade products around the world, an effort to promote higher incomes for producers and more sustainable farming practices. This is basically you take your local farmers in lesser developed countries that are intensive subsistence agriculture. How can they compete against your transnational corporations? This is a way they can do that. If you're the tenants of um, fair trade products, 10 principles. Opportunities for disadvantage, transparency in economy, fair trade prices, fair payment, no child or forced labor, no discrimination of any kind, good working conditions, capacity building, promote the fair trade, and respect the environment. So there's your sustainability aspect. Here's making sure that's being done the right way between these three. And here is basically that people are getting paid the right amount. So basically, buying a fair trade product essentially you know where you can trust that it's being produced in an economically sound way, and also the fact that you have that's going to be what good for you. And so this is where it might cost you a little bit more, but the fact a lot of people like fair trade because they know it's good for the world. So if you look here, I'll move myself into the Indian Ocean here. Look here, places in yellow are licensed to produce fair trade products. If you look in general, it's a lot of lesser developed countries. It's a lot of LDCs, with Argentina and China probably being your two most, and South Africa and Brazil probably being your countries that are the most economically developed within this, that produce. Green is both, blue is you can only buy. So what you're looking at here is it's getting a marketplace for farmers in Cameroon to be able to sell to Germany. That's what you're looking for. You're trying to get them, hey, I produce coffee in Costa Rica. Well, I live in Minnesota. I want to be able to buy that coffee. That's what you're looking for. That is fair trade. Now, this kind of goes along with, we see more and more urban agriculture getting done and more people wanting to grow their own food. And so this is farming on a scale of just urban areas. So one of the things with this is that you see a lot more farming on rooftops. That people are doing that and then selling that at farmers markets. It's part of the Eat Local movement as well, that, hey, this was made 4 miles from here, and I can tell you exactly who made it because I bought, or who grew it because I bought it from them. There's also then throughout the world now, you're seeing more and more answers that we have all this urban space now, and how can we continue to grow enough food and get to your plate fast? Over here on the left is vertical farming. Vertical farming, a lot of time it uses hydroponics. Hydroponics is when you use water as your soil. And you'll see a ton of companies that are basically doing this in warehouses, that you'll use your vertical space instead of your horizontal space to grow your crops. Like if you're in New York, you have the warehouse space. Well, guess what? Now I'm going to grow plants out of there, and I can sell them quickly, and I can control them and control the environment. Up here, this is a roof that can open and shut up here in Singapore. Huge deal. Why? Because you can let the rain in when it's coming. And if you don't want to let the rain in, you don't have to. If that's too much water in order, you can create the perfect growing environment, therefore creating a growing season that is significantly shorter. Last part of this, how do you get food to everybody? Food deserts. Concept of a food desert. Limited access to healthy and fresh food. A lot of times it can be in urban areas where grocery stores are closing, but they can also be in rural areas. And part of this is also the healthy food aspect. Because like in rural America right now, Dollar General stores, they do sell food, but they don't sell fresh fruits and vegetables. How does this look? It's the number one reason why they exist is poverty and lack of incentives for grocery stores. Here, this is Chicago. Distance to grocery stores, average distance for the distance. So the South Side especially doesn't have a lot. And in Chicago especially, it's almost all African American populations that have food deserts. But yes, Farmington, Minnesota, food desert because their grocery store is closed. I mean, your access to all this is a problem that stores are trying to find ways to make money, and then they can't. And then this just leads to a cycle of poverty almost. Because what you have then is the people who don't live who live in a food desert have to spend more of their time, more of their money on getting food, and that's a problem. Now, food delivery services can be an answer to this, and as that continues to grow in popularity, potential answer there. But we'll see how that plays out because in the end, you still need somebody that you have to be within the delivery area. And so, how can we limit food deserts as a significant problem to try to make sure that people have access to food on a daily basis?